Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, today I was on Facebook and I came across an interview with Waka Flocka Flame. And he was on Sway's show, and Sway was talking to him about the issue of identity. And this guy, Waka Flocka, said that he is not an African American. He also went on to say he's not connected with that identity. He talked about how his folks are not from Africa. He went on to talk about how his grandmother claims that she's from two different Native American tribes. He said that his family has European in their bloodline and Italian and Native American. And then he was also saying that 80% of the black people are native people, that we don't come from Africa, that we are indigenous to America. And he was talking about how even people in the room, where he was doing this interview were not even African American, they're native peoples. And he went on to say that he's damn sure is not black. Like somebody asked him, well, are you black? Do you consider yourself to be black? And he said he's damn sure not black. Now, one thing that I agree with him is when he said he's confused. And I think that he is definitely confused just based on his statements. And we hear this a lot. Like every now and then I'll do videos about our African identity and I'll get these people that claim that they are native people. They claim that black people are native people. So I want to address this. A while ago I did a video, and hopefully when I get a chance, it'll probably be tomorrow, late tomorrow. But when I get a chance, I'll post a link in the cards. I did a video response to this guy called Conspiracy Dude, where he basically made the same argument, this ridiculous argument that black people don't come from Africa and that we're native people. So I debunked that video. And I just think that before I go into like some of the points that I made in that video, I'll just say this. I think that a lot of our people literally hate being black. They literally hate Africa. They hate the idea that they are in any way connected with Africa. And this is a result of all these years of programming. We were taught forever that Africa contributed nothing to human civilization. We were taught that Africa is the dark continent. We were taught that Africans were uncivilized, that Africans were savages, that Africans swing from trees and just live in huts and haven't done anything, haven't made any kind of accomplishments to human civilization. And I think that because of that stereotype that has been programmed into our minds, that many of us disassociate from Africa. I remember as a kid seeing cartoons depicting Africans as savages. I remember seeing Tarzan as a kid, where you have black people depicted as weak and cannibals and all that kind of stuff. There were cartoons like, I think it was Disney and all those other cartoon companies that depicted black people as subhuman, like, Africans as subhuman. So I think that deep down, that programming is still with us. Deep down, we have been taught that we've contributed nothing. You go to a history class and you learn very little about African people. And because of that, our people have been programmed to hate their African identity. They've been programmed to hate Africa. They've been programmed to hate their dark skin, their full lips, their African noses, their African hair. You hear it all the time, people telling dark skin jokes. Even so-called conscious people are here on YouTube referring to dark skinned people as crispy, as burnt, and other derogatory terms. You hear people refer to natural African hair as nappy. But if hair looks European, it's good hair. And I think that that same mentality is with us. I mean, that mentality is reflected in this guy's statements. We are so thoroughly programmed that we would rather be anything other than African. We would rather be Native Americans. We would rather be Hebrews. We would rather be Arabs. We would rather be Asiatic. We would rather be anything other than African because we have been taught to hate ourselves. You have even some of these so-called pro-black people who claim that they're from another planet. As Dr. Umar Johnson said, like they are so full of self hatred that they don't even want to claim the planet Earth. They don't want to. They want to be so disassociated with Africa that they would rather be from another freaking planet than to identify with Africa, than to call themselves African. That's how deep the psychosis is. That's how deep the self hatred is. That's how deep the programming is. So I think that that's at the core of it. You always hear black people bragging about being part this, part that, because they hate who they are. They highlight the other non African heritage that they have, and they negate and blot out their African heritage because they hate themselves. And you hear all these people saying this ridiculous stuff about how we're not we're not from Africa, we're native people. They say that there's no proof. I mean, there are all these documented logs from slave ships documenting where we came from, documenting which slave ships went where and how many people they got and all that kind of stuff. You have artifacts of sunken slave ships. You have the slave narratives proving that our people came from Africa, where you have Africans telling how they were brought to America, telling their stories. You have stories of slave rebellions that are documented in the history books. You have all of this. But despite all of this evidence, despite all this proof that we come from Africa, you have these people that suffer cognitive dissonance because of their self hatred. You could present them with all the proof, but yet and still, they will insist that they are non African. And I know that some of us have some African Americans have Native American in their blood and all that kind of stuff. But what happens is a lot of these people, they want to highlight that and negate their blackness because they hate being black. So I just had to express my views on this, man. People always love to highlight these other things in their bloodline. Somebody will, for instance, say a woman is attractive because she looks like she's mixed, like she's part something else, like she's part Asian. That means she's somehow more attractive than a woman that's just African American. That's how deep our minds have been brainwashed. That's how deep the self-hatred is. And, it's no surprise. I mean, that this guy would not have knowledge, that this guy would actually admit that he's confused, given the type of music that he puts out, glorifying violence, glorifying drug dealing, glorifying the most ignorant of things. So really, this is just a small piece of the ignorance that people like this guy, Flocka Flame, promote. Where he's singing about how he goes hard in the paint and how he'll leave you leaking blood and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I just had to share my views. Tell me what y'all think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.